Hello, you made it. Welcome to week 7. I really hope you enjoyed this challenge this summer and learned a lot about watercolor and just really had a good time. I hope I inspired you to continue your journey in watercolor. So we are on our last project, and this is not so much a picture project. This is more of a learning technique stuff. So if you notice here, I'm covering this up. This is already done. I have a story. I do my videos like a week in advance, or sometimes 2 weeks in advance. And I'm actually working on another art challenge for September. And I started those videos because once school starts, I'm going to be like, I don't know how insane things are going to get. And my phone was freaking out on me, and I accidentally deleted every file on my phone, all my pictures, all my videos of my kids. Fortunately, it was backed up to Google Drive, but I missed like a month or two of stuff and all my videos, and I was about to cry. So I am sorry, this video was already taken before and it got erased. So I'm going to just do the techniques up top here, and just bear with me. So it'll work out. There's a reason for it. So all right, so today we're going to learn 3 different techniques, and most of it is going to be this one with this experimentation, and I'll get to that. So the first one, now you're already going to see what it looks like, but this is called scratching. Okay, so if you are a little older, you can use a craft knife or X-Acto knife or anything. If you have young kids, you're gonna have to do it for them, or you can also take a wooden kebab stick or one of those rounded toothpicks with the sharp points. You can do it with that. It won't be as effective, but if they want to try it and they don't want to get cut and you're worried about them getting cut, because I don't want any ER chips here or stitches, get something that's sharp, that's not this sharp. Okay, so scratching, you're going to just take your knife before you apply paint on here, and you're going to make some scratch marks. So I'm just doing like up and down here. I'm just doing something simple. Okay, and this has been a day because I never got my paint out. I'm going to grab something here. All right. I'm going to get the paint out now. All right, I'm going to put red over this. And I'm looking for everything today. I am just having one of those days. All right, so I got red paint here. And I'm going to paint over the scratch marks that I made. And, okay. And you will see, now if you do too thick of a paint, you want it a little watered down, because what's going to happen, you want to soak through here. If you make it really thick, paint over it, you won't see predominantly the scratches. The thicker the paint, the less visual these scratches will be. So here, this is actually the example. This is a little thicker. This is a little lighter washed down. As you can see the difference. Here, which I didn't have time for, you can paint beforehand, scratch it, and then put another layer on top. So that's kind of what that is. You can see there's a little bit of blue showing through. So the key thing is to make sure you're scratching when it's dry, whether it's before paint or after. Okay? What this would be used for, you can use this to just create texture. I've heard artists use it for fur. Like if you're trying to paint like a wolf or something, they might make some scratch marks and then put some shadow and stuff to indicate fur. So that is a reason you would do it. There's other ways, or maybe scratches on a fence post or whatever. The next one is sponge. Okay? Now I don't remember if I told you to get a sponge on the list, but I'm sure some of you have like a kitchen sponge laying around. If you have a natural sponge, they're better, and I don't know where mine is right now, but the more natural and porous they are, the better you're going to have it. So what you're going to do, you're just going to Look, dip your sponge in paint. This is a little wet, so I hope this works. Yeah, and you're going to tap it. If you can see, that's what happened when I did it prior. Okay, just tap it. I might want a little more paint here. This will be good for bushes, trees, anything of that sort. Abstract for good texture. I'm going to put a little more thick paint on here, and you can see you can get more. This is more of a watered down technique. This is more straight on paint. Or you can put some water first and have it run a little bit. Okay, it's just basically taking the sponge and tap. That's just pretty simple, okay? Now what you're going to do is we're going to learn opaque versus transparent colors. Now, why would you want to learn that? Opaque means if you apply a color on top of another, it won't show through. So, for instance, let's see if I can. Up here, this is more or of opaque, like it covers over. The yellow isn't showing through too much. Transparent is when the color will show through. So right here, I took, this is from a black Sharpie marker. I drew a line right down here, and I took some paint and I put blue here, just painted it over, not real water. I didn't really water it down too much, but just a little bit to make it flow. And I did yellow. And you can see yellow is a lot more transparent than blue. Now, that doesn't mean, I mean, generally all yellows will be transparent, but you'd be surprised if you start going through your palette that you will find that maybe more reds, even though they're red and you have different shades of reds, some might actually be more opaque and others might be transparent. Okay? So you will draw a line and paint. Now, I want you to go over, this is the whole point of this project, your palette, and find out for yourself which is opaque and which is transparent. Most watercolor artists will make a big, huge line and just paint a whole bunch of colors. That sounds like incredibly boring to me, so I thought of a way, hopefully, to make it a little more interesting. So what I did here is I'm going to move this up a little bit here. I drew a tree. Now this is all from Sharpie marker. And what we're going to do, we're going to paint different colors, make a tree, and label them and find out whether they're opaque or transparent. Now, I'm grabbing stuff all over the place today because that's just me today. I don't know if you have two paint. If you have two paint, the color will be listed right here. Okay? What we're going to do is when we paint it, we're going to label it with a regular pen. So when you come back to it, you will have your whole palette here and you can say, oh, I have crimson red. That is, well, there's transparent and then there's translucent, which is halfway between transparent. So this is probably translucent. You're like, well, it kind of covers, not all. And this is be very helpful when you use your paint because you can get frustrated, put a paint down, want to cover it up, and then the paint you want to put on top won't, if it's transparent, it won't work. Okay? Now, if you have a pan set, what is frustrating is they don't even have these colors labeled. So what I would suggest, what we can do is, let me do the first color and I'll tell you how to label it so you know what color you put on here because there's no names here. So I'm going to start with red. And the first red I'm going to use what I just used because I have it on here. This is called, well, I don't know if you can see it. Well, it's blurry. Brilliant red. There we go. Brilliant red. So again, you don't want it too watered down, but you want enough to make it flow. And I am going to draw or paint a circle. Now I will consider that not completely opaque, but it's almost there. But at least you know what your color will do under dark color. And then you're going to take your pen and write the name. Oh, there we go. brilliant red. So you always will know what that color will do. Now, if you have one of these, and let's say this is probably the closest red I just used, I would start from the top, pick whatever you just choose as the top, whether it's the black section or the light. So let's just use the light section because it's higher up here. And I would do it like a bingo thing. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 3 across. So here I would put 4-3. So you know when you come back to it, oh, okay, that color is 4 rows down and 3 across. Okay? So if you have pan paint, that's what I would do, so you know what your colors can do. All right, so I'm just going to go through some colors just for fun, just to show you, cover the tree up. So we got brilliant red there. Next, I'm going to use crimson, which is another popular red. Sometimes it's called Amazon crimson, but I think they went down to call it crimson. I'm not going to write all these down. I'll write some, but because I don't want to be here all day writing. But for your purposes, you're going to want to write them down. So this one's, it's about the same. It's almost the same color. I just grabbed what was in my my stack here. I have such Mod Podge watercolor tubes that I collected over the years, and I don't even know anymore. This is Azalea Crimson. Never, it's usually Amazon. This is Azalea, and this is a little darker. Let's see what this does. This is actually good for me because I haven't tested all my colors yet. But it's really good to know what you have. Okay, so this red, let's see what this does. This is brighter, and this might actually be a little more translucent than the other two. Maybe a little bit more, not too much. Okay, and again, I will write like crimson right here. All right, I'm going to go through some blues next. I've just got like 3 of each kind of color right here. Let's start with ultramarine blue, because that's a really common color here, and probably all have it. That's very popular with even acrylics and oil. It's ultramarine blue is the ultimate color now. All right, so we're going to try ultramarine blue. I think I should water it down a hair. This is definitely more opaque. Blues are going to be more opaque unless it's light blues, I believe. I have only dark blues. I wish I had a light blue. But I mix a lot of my colors, and that's probably why. Now this is Feo blue. I'm just letting you know what I'm putting on here. This is a brighter blue here. I mean, you can just put anywhere on the tree. See, most of these are going to be opaque, the blues. And let's see, I'm going to try indigo because that's really dark, and I know that's going to be opaque, but sometimes some colors surprise me. And this is almost like a black. This would be a good substitute, at least this one I have. Because I don't like black too much because that's very opaque. It really like takes the color out of a painting. I mean, if you're illustrating, that's one thing. This would be a good alternative that doesn't like drain out the color, but it's not really true black. All right, let's do yellow. We're going to the primary colors today so far. I got lemon yellow. That's kind of a generic name. But we'll see. Now, most yellows are going to be transparent. But at least you know which yellows are more transparent, which reds are more transparent. So when you do glazing and stuff, this would be very helpful to know. So that's lemon yellow. Now, don't forget to keep writing what you have on your tree. Okay, I got medium yellow here, which is another popular general color. A little darker. This is a little more transparent. This is a little more translucent. And the last one I have is yellow ochre. As you can see, this is even different. I have so many different brands of watercolor. It's crazy. I like to do sales. Some of these watercolors are from actually my teenage years, I believe. That's how long they can last. But I did have to throw a lot out. I keep shopping sales and picking up stuff. I try to do everything cheap. Okay. This is yellow orchid. This is, well, I didn't water this down much. But you could see this is a yellow, and it's like opaque. And it's surprising that even yellows can be opaque. And let's go with the greens here. So I got sap green. Okay. Sap. Okay, and it's like a translucent. This is permanent green hue. This is going to be a lighter green. Looks more bright. No, it's not as bright as I think, but it's light. This is insane. I'm going to show you this. It's definitely opaque, but look at the color here. It's not even matching it at all. Sometimes, so you can't always go by the color on the tube. It's frustrating. You just gotta, the more you paint, you're gonna recognize color names and what they really look like, but this does not look like this lime here. And the last green I have is Viridian, and oh my gosh, I have a story. I cannot paint with this color when it's oil paint, because I don't know what it, I have like a hate relationship with this color, because somehow when I paint with oil with this color, it just gets all over me. I don't know why. It like spreads like a disease everywhere. And I'm not just saying on my clothes, everywhere. Like, you ever get like, clean grease off and just gets everywhere? It's like that. And my art teacher in college wanted us to use this color. And I warned her, I said, it's going to get everywhere. And she's like, what? I'm like, see, these are all pretty much opaque. I'm like, yeah, it's going to get everywhere. And when I used it, it was everywhere. It was down my arm. Oh, she was trying to help me clean up. And the more we cleaned up, the more it spread. And she was cracking up. She's like, I'll never, ever think of this color without thinking of you again. So apparently that color hates me. But it's very pretty. And let's do some browns. I got some burnt umber, which is a very popular color. I'm generally a messy painter, I think, but I'm getting a lot better. So most of these browns are going to be opaque. You'll find like the light, yellows and light greens. I don't have a lot of variety here because, like, again, I Mod Podge and I mix my colors a lot. Maybe if I get my pan paints out, I can show you a little bit more, but because my pan paints have like, 6 all different kinds of shades of green in every color. What am I doing? This is raw umber. That's not as dark. But the idea is to get to know your palette and what it can do. Because, see, this I got like a really light green here. So although all these greens up here are like opaque, this is going to be a lot more translucent. Although all these are opaque, I'm sure when I get my very light blue, it's kind of in between there. So play around with it, get to know your palette, Here, I have, since I have pan paint, I have all my colors out. Don't throw this out if you do this. This will be a full palette for you. You let it dry, you can reuse this, and all your colors are out. So don't throw these out. And just for kicks and grins, I'm going to take my sponge, and just to show you, let's see, green will be good. You can like make bushes or whatever. I'm just gonna, just to show you what it can do. I should have scratched for you. You know what? We'll do that over there just for fun. Let's, like, I can make impressions of branches here, which is another way you might want to scratch, but you don't really want to paint them in. Oh, that was rough. And let's see what this does. See, it'll give an impression of branches if you want to do that too, and then you can, I'm just showing you what you can do here. Okay, so play around with it, know your palette, and for the last project, you have how many techniques here? 12? Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. We did 7 rows. Yeah, 21. 21 techniques. So come up with anything you want to paint, use any technique. You have all these techniques now, and do a final project if you like, and post it. And I would love to see, you'll find like from your first day, your first week till this week, how much you probably really progressed, and you can see the difference throughout the week. So I would love to see your final project. I hope you had a wonderful summer doing this, and I will be posting soon a new challenge in September, taking old books and recycling them and making art out of them. So stay tuned. I will have that coming up. All right, I will see you in September, and you have a great year, great rest of the summer.